This video is sponsored by esportsearnings.com. Apparently I can do that, but instead of selling out, we'll take the initiative to see the new video games on the market, and today we look at Overwatch by Blizzard Entertainment. It's a new IP and people have been excited about it for months. The hype train is real and it's going full speed ahead, so let's take a look. Overwatch, in a nutshell, is like Team Fortress 2 as a class-based first-person shooter, but with a lot of similarities to MOBAs. I would actually compare them more to something like Dota 2 or League of Legends than to TF2. The heroes do function similar to the different classes of TF2, but they have their specific roles defined by their stats and their overall kit, and in certain situations, perform better or worse than another hero of the same role. These abilities are very MOBA-ish, if that's a word. You have gap closers and escapes, utility, and you have ultimate abilities. The movement abilities, for example, Widowmaker has a grappling hook, Tracer can teleport, and Reinhardt has a charge attack. The game itself is very easy to get into, especially with its controls. They're standard FPS controls and your abilities are bound to E, Q, and Shift. There is a tutorial, but you don't even need it unless you're completely new to first-person shooters. The game itself feels like a very casual game at first, but once you start understanding all the nuances of every hero, you'll realize that it's only a casual game similar to how people call League of Legends a casual game, easy to get into and hard to master. The two game modes are Assault and King of the Hill. Assault is my favorite game mode from Unreal Tournament, and now it's here in Overwatch. But I'm a little disappointed that the objectives aren't as complex as the ones in UT. They're just 2 capture points or you escort a payload across the map. But the core gameplay is much deeper than simple weapon pickups and power-ups, so it more than makes up for it. The King of the Hill mode is played best of 3 rounds, each round taking place in a different part of the map. Fairly straightforward. Those are probably not the official names of the game modes, but you get the idea. There are 21 heroes in the game, and Blizzard will be adding more in the future free of charge. The cast does have a lot of diversity and caters to different playstyles. The heroes I've played the most were Pharah, Widowmaker, and Mercy. I'm the kind of guy who picks heroes based on what our team needs, and it's really nice that the hero selection screen tells you what your team is lacking, like, do we need more overall damage? Do we need a tank? Do we need range? It's not just the team composition that wins matches. The game relies so much on positioning, and you can break defenses simply by being in the right place at the right time, even with a weaker team. While the enemy team is focused on defending a choke point, very mobile heroes like Tracer can reach the objective and pull defenders back to allow the rest of the team to push forward. The whole game is basically a first-person shooter MOBA without the creeps or the need to farm, and a huge emphasis on team fights. Of course, everything is subject to balance changes, and it's up to the communities to figure out what needs to be tweaked, and with Blizzard's track record on balance, you can be sure they'll do a good job. There's always going to be people crying about balance even though they're just playing bad. Happens in every game. The most common I've heard so far is Bastion. I have never had a problem dealing with Bastion, except when I'm not the right hero to deal with Bastion. Widowmaker can 2-shot him. Pharah can spam rockets. The Bastion Reinhardt combo is very strong, but still manageable since 1/3 of their team is now immobile. Just fight somewhere else and force them to move. Everything can be dealt with, it just needs to be learned, and the meta should develop normally to allow everyone to understand it instead of having knee-jerk balance changes. But I'm not the guy who should be talking about balance. I'm the guy who talks about the game's future. Overwatch tournaments have already awarded over $30,000 US in prize money, and that's just in the beta. Many of these top players transitioned over from other communities like Quake, Team Fortress 2, and Battlefield 4. There's already a massive community for Overwatch, and it's going to be even bigger. For the first few weeks, the game will be top 5 in viewership on Twitch easily. Everyone will be streaming it, but we won't see the eventual sharp drop-off in viewership. It's going to stay. Every time there's a major Overwatch tournament, it's going back to the front page of Twitch. After a few months, the game will still be going strong and you can easily get a game going. It's safe to assume Blizzard will have an Overwatch tournament at BlizzCon this year. They don't have a year-long championship series for the game yet, so it'll be a simple invitational. Judging by the amount of tournaments that's already happened, I fully expect the overall prize money to surpass $500,000 by the end of the year. It's setting itself up to compete with CSGO in terms of players and viewership. It's not going to surpass CSGO this year or the next, but it'll still have respectable numbers. I'm also expecting 1 or 2 new heroes and at least 1 new map added to the game in this time frame. But the one thing I'm disappointed about is the lack of a map editor. Overwatch is running its own proprietary engine. All of the content creation tools were made from scratch and are still locked away in Blizzard's offices, and they've made no indication that they'll be releasing them to the public. I guess you can say the technology just isn't there yet. Anyone aspiring to be modders for the game will be disappointed. For consoles specifically, it'll be similar to what happened with Team Fortress 2 and other PC-centric games with console versions. The vast majority of the players will be on PC, while the console population will slowly decline as the new big games come out. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare is the obvious one, but some others will be released earlier and draw players away. Then there's the patches that have to be approved for console games by Microsoft and Sony before going live, so going through all of that red tape, the game will have less frequent updates and significantly less support overall. Blizzard has built up their reputation and goodwill with the gaming community over the last 2 decades, and that's why people stick with them. They earned it. Overwatch enters the picture, is a new IP, and it's already making waves. I hope we can get some modding tools in the future, like how they included a map editor with all of their RTS games, but the base game by itself is still amazing, and I would recommend it. If you enjoyed Team Fortress 2, or if you enjoyed both first-person shooters and MOBAs, you'll probably enjoy this game too. Overwatch is $40 on PC and $60 on consoles. More specifically, the $60 Origin Edition is available on both PC and console, while the $40 regular edition is only available on PC. Unless you have a very specific reason to buy it on console, like that's what your friends are playing on, just get it on PC. The player base will be there for years, and we'll follow up on the game in a few months to see what happens. Thanks for watching.